Welcome to Midnight Madness at the Toronto International Film Festival. My name is Peter Kaplowski. I am the Midnight Madness programmer. You are the Midnight Madness audience. You're the audience that watches 10 of the great midnight movies of the year. And man, this is a movie I had the great pleasure to see in the Cannes Film Festival in the marketplace. And when I saw this film, I was excited going in because these guys made another movie that is pretty freaking wild called Wormwood, Road of the Dead, which we played at the Toronto After Dark Film Festival where I began my career as a programmer. Give it up to Toronto After Dark. They follow up. We hope to see you all there in October. All right, now, to continue, I would like to acknowledge that tonight's event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We appreciate the opportunity to work in the community. This film is eligible for the Midnight Madness People's Girls' Choice Award. Vote for the film at tiff.net/vote. And we would like to thank Entertainment One, Sierra Affinity, for providing us with this film. And now, let's meet our Aussies, the creators of NEKROTONIC, Kia Roache-Turner and Tristan Roache-Turner! Woo!
Hello, legends. Hello. Thank you so much.
Can I introduce your
certainly
amazing
can.
cast? Let's meet our necromancers, Caroline Ford and Tess Hobridge. Woo! And of course, the queen of the underworld, Monica Bellucci! And movies wouldn't be made without producers. Let's bring out Andrew Mason and Troy Lum. What are we about to see?
Legends. You're about to see some awesomeness. But first up, I just want to say thank you so much for having us here. We're brothers. This is the first time we've ever been to Canada. We love TIFF. And we fucking love Toronto. Yar! Yar!
I just want to say I'm a massive film nerd, and so looking at you guys out here, I think I came to the right room tonight. There's like 7 film nerds. Come on, who's a film nerd? Huh? Come on! That's better. We grew up, probably like some of you, watching films like Ghostbusters and Pulp Fiction and The Evil Dead and all of that stuff. And this film, what you're about to see, is kind of our homage to all of that. Me and Tristan's first film, Wormwood, as Pete said, like we made that for no money in backyards. Like literally in backyards. We shot like 30% of it in our mother's shed. And we fucking destroyed it, and she's still pissed off about that. So to be able to have the opportunity to screen our second film in what I think is the greatest goddamn film festival in the world, this is like a dream come true. So we're stoked to be here, and thank you all.
Thank you. Let's watch NEKROTONIC! Kia and Tristan, take the stage. The Roche. Monica. Tess, Caroline. And the producers, you guys can get up here too. Andrew, Troy, and your cinematographer's here too, right? Tim Nagel. You can take the stage.
And the composer, Michael.
The composer's here as well.
Yeah,
fantastic.
he's right here. Yeah.
Fantastic. Take a bow. Come up. Let's get everybody up here. All right. I'd like to start the Q&A off with, in a movie of increasingly escalating bonkers ideas, Did the 3D printing ghost idea come first? Because that's one of my favorites. Where did that come from?
That was my brother's fault. So you can answer
That's
this,
me,
huh?
guys. Sorry about that.
So where did that come from? Like,
Where did it come from?
What was the inspiration for that idea?
I think it actually came from just smoking heaps of pot when I was a teenager, eh? Yeah. Heaps of beers. And then, I don't know, it just popped into my head one day. Always have just loved the idea of ghosts. And I'm an electrician by trade, so how systems work logistically is super important to me. And I think we actually bought a 3D printer for another one of our little
Just to see
projects.
if we could print a ghost.
Yeah. And then
It didn't work, though.
Didn't work. No, it didn't work. And that was pretty much
It was
it.
worth
Yeah.
a shot. Yeah.
Worked out all right there, yeah.
I mean, that what you just said about being an electrician, like Wormwood was full of all this gadgetry and stuff, and I love that you've continued that in this movie. And speaking of the cast, you guys got to work with these gadgets. What were they like to handle and to learn how to use too?
Oh, well, yeah, we just had to have a lot of training. We had about 2 weeks beforehand, is that right? Something like that. And we had the plasma weapons, obviously, but it was more about how to look like we knew what we were doing, basically.
Yeah, but the actual plasma weapons themselves were really cool. Like, they were quite heavy. I feel like when I was holding them, it made me feel very powerful. Yeah. And so we basically just had to learn how to hold them and to see what happens when we shoot them.
We like to make films like there's an expression, switch porn. So basically, we like to make films where there's lots of switches. It's like click, 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 turning things on and shit starts up and engines and gadgets and all that bullshit. I fucking love that stuff. I can't get enough of it. Plasma weapons, like anything where you've got like a weird machine that you've never seen before. It's basically just like sci-fi gobbledygook, but we just lap that shit up because we, as you said, we grew up in the 90s smoking a lot of weed. We played a lot of video games and we watched Blade Runner probably too many times. So we just love anything with gadgets in it. We like that, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Oh,
Pete?
it does.
Okay.
It does. The weed in the
Good.
90s video games definitely answers my question. Monica, how much did you enjoy being the queen of the demons?
Oh my God, I have to thank really Kia and Tristan.
Can I just interrupt you? This is the first time Monica's seen the film, so I'm watching her very closely.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm so
Did you like it?
horrible. Yeah, so horrible, so mean. No, it was great because it's the first time really I play a real baddie. And so this woman is a mother, but she's the most horrible mother I haven't seen. And really, I have to thank, because for me it was a great experience to be in this movie, to work with those young, incredible, talented directors, and to have the chance to play with all those beautiful, talented, young actresses and actors. So thank you very much. I'm really honored to be part of this team.
Thank you for being in our film. Monica Bellucci.
Do we have questions from the audience? Yes, right there. The questions with regards to both the visual style and the musical style. Here we go.
It's
take
really
the mic.
good. Here's a composer and a DP that we prepared earlier.
What's up?
What's up, Michael Lira?
Um,
It's Dolby. Fantastic. Surround sound. Would you like a third?
That's all right. I don't need a turd. This is so exciting. What a joy to work on a film like this. As a composer, you don't really get to write a lot of notes. You know, you don't do dramatic, well, this dramatic at least anyway. So it's just a joy to work with these guys. I'm very emotional and nervous.
Fantastic. Tim, can you describe the process and working with the directors in terms of the lighting of the film? Because it's got a very distinct visual style. So what was kind of the first conversation?
Let's just make it as fucking badass as we can possibly make it. And, guns and a lot of contrast and a fantastic cast. And it was, it was great. It was fantastic to make it happen.
And in terms of the ghost aesthetic, what was sort of the inspiration for that aesthetic, and how was that generated?
I think it was
Well, to talk a little bit more to the visual aesthetic, I just showed Tim Blade Runner like several times, and I said, "Can you copy that, but not get us sued?" Just copy it as much as you can, and don't get us sued. And I think we're going to get sued, though, you know. But so he did very well. And with Mr. Lira here, I just said, can you take Danny Elfman and inject LSD into his brain and then pretend to make movies in that style? And I think he did that very well too, you know. And
Fantastic.
yeah, these guys so fucking talented. It's actually, I'm getting emotional too, Lira, because my brother, Monica Bellucci, these beautiful young actresses here, these guys, I mean, we worked for like so long and so hard, and we were covered in mud and blood, and you know, we threw people to the floor and we exploded heads, and it was so hard. There were tears and real sweat, and it's so nice to be sitting in a room with people who fucking get it. And like, you guys laughed and you clapped in all the right places. So I thank you, the audience, too. It really means a lot to us. You know, tonight it's.
You know,
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna fucking cry. Take a fucking bucket.
No, I just wanted to say one thing. You talked at the beginning about how you made Wormwood in the backyard. You worked with so much more resources in this film. What was that like to go from Wormwood to a production like this? Was it the same thing? Because sometimes you hear that it kind of feels the same, or is it more problems, more money, more problems, that sort of thing?
It was awesome. The catering every single day was just amazing. Hey, they just had all this food laid out in front of you. We had coffee machines on every single set. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, like Wormwood, our mum was literally making the cupcakes for us at lunchtime, and they tasted good, but they weren't catering level
tasted
good.
good.
They were good. They taste good.
Like a good soul. All right, right there.
The cupcakes on this film were very good, I have to say. Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, the idea, the mobile game idea was I assume Pokemon Go was an influence.
I think that was actually a pretty late addition. As we were sort of getting closer to greenlight and production, obviously Pokemon had a massive, massive sort of global explosion. And then it just popped into our head one day. We're like, yeah, we should put that in the movie. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Yeah, except instead of furry little animals, you make them ghosts. And then you make our badass evil villain want to feed on them to take over the earth. And yeah, it just flowed from one to the other. It's natural, right? That's normal progression.
I feel I have to ask, are there plans for a mobile game of any sort?
What do you guys reckon? Could we do that?
The producers may be working on that. Okay.
I think that plan just got created right then, Pete, actually.
I
so
want
thank you for
5% of that
Yeah.
thing. 5%,
No
please.
chance.
Question, more questions in the end. Front row? Row, sorry, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Torkel's makeup. The question is whether or not it's a rule in all Australian movies that there is a violent musical sequence.
Well, that was actually Troy Lum's idea. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Elaborate, please.
I just thought that when we saw the sequence that it needed a piece of music to go with it that was kind of playing against the action, and I think it works well.
Great idea. I love that. Now that's producing. That man's a producer.
But Tess, what was it like the process of getting into that makeup?
It took about 4.5 hours before we started filming every day. And then it took about 2 hours to get off every day until the last week when I saw some olive oil in a can. And I said, could we just try that? Because I'm in a rush to get home to my daughter. And they put it on me and it came off in about 20 minutes.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Really?
I'm serious, yeah. Yeah. I
All
never
right.
told you
Fucking
that. But yeah, no, it was...
That'll be good for the sequel, though. Now
I
we
just
know.
poured olive oil and rubbed it all over me and it came off. Yeah, like that.
That's terrible. Yeah, sequel.
Other
Yeah.
questions? Anyone in the balcony? Oh, right there. Yes.
We used an instrument called David White. Now, he's an Oscar-winning sound designer. He did the sound design for Fury Road, and he's like better than any super expensive sound effect that you can purchase. He's an insane genius. He's a crazy dude, and yeah, like to get a sound designer of that quality for this film was very lucky. So that's your answer, David White. If you make a film, I've got his number. he won't answer probably, but my God, if you can get him, your film's twice as good. So
awesome. The last question I'd like to ask is just Wormwood Chronicles of the Dead. When is that going to happen? Are you going to continue the Wormwood universe?
My man, it is in development as we speak.
Awesome.
We've actually made a really kick-ass Wormwood VR experience, and we're going to use that to do previs and design work for the TV series. We're also going to make it into a video game, and it's really bad-ass and cool. If you like blowing shit away, especially zombies with shotguns in a virtual reality world, Wormwood, Chronicles of the Dead VR experience is for all of you. You will love it.
Put your hands together for the cast and crew of Wormwood. Take a bow. NEKROTONIC. I just got so excited by Wormwood. All right.